Hey everybody, what's up? Ben here, and today we are officially releasing the Magna Zone indicator. So if you're interested in this, I'm going to show you exactly how it works. I'm going to show you some really nice trades, honestly, and a couple that are actually looking really good right now. Go ahead and click in the description. You're going to come onto a page that looks like this, and you can read all about it. You can see all about it. You can see exactly how it works. I'm going to show you a couple little features here in this video, and then if it sounds interesting to you, go ahead and check that out, and you'll be able to get this right on your charts today in probably about 5 minutes from now, right? And so here we go. So let's go ahead and start with SPY. And so there has been some really good trades. And I'm going to show you a couple. So on the SPY and the QQQ, they both had basically 4 for 4. And so 2 bounces and 2 breakouts so essentially a bounce and a breakout on the SPY and the bounce and a breakout on the QQQ. And so here it is on the SPY and here it is on the QQQ. Now, I'm going to show you exactly how this thing looks like once we get up to it. So essentially, here's what we have. We have 2 different zones. And in these zones, I like to call these the magnet zones. So MAG. I'm going to go MAG and MAG for both. So these are 2 magnet zones where price is going to get drawn to that. So essentially what's going to happen is either it's going to come down here into this zone or it's going to come up to here in this zone. And from there, we're going to find bounces and we're going to try to find breakouts. Very basic, very easy support resistance tool. However, there is a lot of things that can happen in these zones. And so that's why it's important to have some type of trigger criteria. And in this indicator, we actually have it baked in where you will find if it meets all of the criteria. So there's a lot of different code in here. I could show you it, but there's a lot of different things where it needs to break this little zone right here. And it needs to have the perfect price action for it to work effectively and for us to get that essentially from a 50-50 coin toss to basically what I've been saying is from 50-50 to about an 80-20. So essentially an 80%. We're trying to get more to the 80% range. And so again, it's not going to be perfect, and I'm not going to sit here and say it is perfect. However, I am going to show you a couple really nice setups and a couple really nice recent trades. And so here's the first one. So let's actually go down here. And what I love about this also is our lines are going to repaint. So if they get on the chart, they're literally going to stay there until they don't really matter anymore. However, there is an option. So for those folks who say, well, it's repainting, it's not. It's just the lines are going to go away because if you, let me actually jump this up into the settings. So I kept settings in here. So this looks a little bit crazy, but essentially what this is, and I actually love to do this. Actually, this is one of my favorite things to do with this indicator is to see all of this jumbled mess, but you can make sense of it because sometimes price, you're wondering why did price hang around for this so much? Well, look at all the way over here. Check out that. And again, it doesn't quite it doesn't really it's as it goes further and further and further, it stops to respect that type of a zone. However, when you see a stock, when something has pulled back for a while and then is making its way back up, you're going to start to see this kind of stuff happening. And so that's why I think it's really important to have that setting at your fingertips there. So essentially, yeah, all those, whenever those came up, they'll all be there forever if you adjust that setting in there. And I'll show you about more about that if you dive into the members area. And so essentially, here's what we got. So we actually don't have a trade until this next candle right there. And so you see how and it's not a perfect, Tradingview's backtesting isn't exactly perfect, but this I think it's good enough to show you that essentially what we could do here. And so essentially, with this strategy, we'll be getting in this candle, and then we'll be placing our stop loss, in that area. Give us a little room. And then we can just either do 2-to-1 or 3-to-1. I like 2-to-1, honestly. And you see right there that it actually would have been a little close. It would have been a little bit close here. But in the guides, in the members areas, I actually show exactly where you'll be placing this. I kind of just manually put this here. But you'll be getting a lot more juicy details. Honestly, in this particular one, I would have been shooting for this zone. So we really would have had a nice trade up there. And if I was in options, stop losses are a little they're interesting. They're interesting with options because it could come back and then you could have a wide spread. If you have a stop loss on there, it could take you right out. So there's a lot of stuff that I can go through about that kind of stuff. But I put that all on our guides in the members area for this. And so that would have been the trade number one. And then trade number two is right here. And so we're actually on trade two basically currently. So essentially this was already up really nicely. And so how many percentage are we up actually right now? I think it's just it's actually about 0.5%. So we're up about 0.5% right now. But yeah, this trade, I'm thinking, and check this out. So if you do this, let me actually do those. And so actually I thought we were, oh, okay, never mind. So that line is, so honestly, this is our line. Let me go back here. And sorry, this, like I said, this gets a little bit jumbled if you do this too much. But this is essentially our, so if we go and we do this, this will be the line, this will be the, probably the max zone that we'll be looking at. And then it could reverse off of that. We'll see. But like I said, I like to keep this cleaned up. And so this was our breakout zone. And then we just have a very simple, very, very, very simple way to get in and to get out of these trades. And so that is SPY. Again, here's the QQQ. So check that out. There's the bounce. There's the breakout. And so is this real time? Yeah, this is real time now. So let's see if I think I had a couple more. Yeah, Ford had a really, really nice resistance break. And so what I'm going to actually, I do want to park here. So I actually have a nice little cheat sheet up here, and it is the breakout buy, a breakout sell, a bounce buy, or a bounce sell. And essentially what that means is that whenever price comes up into this zone and breaks out, you're going to get a little arrow, and you're going to see exactly what it is. So if you come up here, we got a breakout buy. So what does that mean exactly? Well, we broke above resistance. And so this was a resistance point. And the way we know that is that if I go back into the replay, and let's just say we went previously to this. So let's go ahead. So this is actually orange. You see that right there? This is an orange zone. So that is resistance, and then this is support. And so this is the kind of the stuff that you want to see with this indicator, by the way, especially with support resistance. I love to see these little, because like as soon as we get those bounces and those breakouts, it's like, wow, that was just so clear. And if you wouldn't have had this on your chart, you might not have seen that. You really might not have seen that. It might not have been as easy to see. And again, you always don't need to have indicators for everything, right? But stuff like this, it just helps. It just helps really, really, really good. So here was the breakout. Actually, almost a pullback right there, and then it did come back. Did come back up, and it's coming back down. So, but again, this was a nice little breakout. I just wanted to show you an example. This wasn't the perfect breakout either, but it was a nice breakout. And the next day, actually, this is an hourly chart. So this would have been Monday. So at 10:30, that 11:30 was a little bit nervous of a candle, but then we came all the way back up there, and it actually opened really nicely. So a nice little trade. Right there. It actually, the highest it went was about 1.5%. And so if you would have got out right at the close, 1.5%, that's a decent amount for an options. I don't know exactly offhand what that would be, because I'd have to look at what option would have been, but it would have been a pretty decent size option. Is there any other trade? Yes. Yeah, this one right here was a really nice one. There was a nice breakout sell as well. We can even look at that one, but this was a nice little breakout. Yeah, beautiful breakout sell to the downside. And then essentially right here, you can see you can see it paint right here. So we're not even close to this line yet, honestly. I mean, the price could could kind of do some of this stuff, but it has already identified, okay, this is the zone. This is the support zone where we're either going to come in here and break, or come in here and then go back to the upside and possibly find a trade in there. So this is essentially where price wants to go. So I can't say that enough. Price wants to come down. If you see these lines on the chart, that means that price wants to go there. So if you see two of them, there's gonna be it's gonna be a battle, but it'll get there eventually, one or the other. And so let's go ahead and continue this and see exactly when that would have. So it actually pierced there, and so you see. You can see right there that it did pierce the zone, but the criteria was just not met, and the criteria was not meant for a signal. We gotta wait for a specific signal, and that was a big juicy candle. That was a big bounce candle, and so this actually finally met the criteria for that trade. It gets you out of it keeps you safe on some trades, but man, what a crazy move this was. So this was American Airlines. AAL, and a really, really good looking trade. Now, you might notice something. You see this little zone up here? This means that will possibly, we're going to be trying to come back up to that zone. So there's still a lot more room. However, we got to remember that this is still, this zone is now in play, or is still in play. And support, and essentially once support is bounced off of, it can continue to bounce off of that until it breaks it, right? And so it could become weaker and weaker as time goes on, but it still is relevant. And if you see it on the chart, it's still going to be relevant. It's still going to be there. Do I have any more? Okay, yeah, this is the one that I wanted to share that I thought was really interesting. And so this is a really interesting current chart. There's a nice little previous breakout sell. Always nice to see. And so let's actually go ahead and let's actually add some of those lines on here just for a second, just to see if we can see anything. So yeah, wow, look at all of that. That is some juicy, that is a juicy levels right there. We got tons and tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of levels. So that's really cool. I like to see that just because this is a zone that is highly respected. So the more of these you see, the more support has been happening, the more resistance has been happening in those areas. And so let's go ahead and put that back down to 1. And wow, what a nice looking trade this is. This is Intel, and actually I might actually grab this tomorrow if we can continue to kind of stay afloat, to kind of keep up, because this is a really good looking trade. Right here at 22.55. So there you go. So if you're interested in a nice little potential breakout trade here, so we actually broke out. And it has gone sideways. And in fact, this could even be considered a little bull flag. So there we go. So that'd be a nice little trade right there on Intel. And we'll see if that happens. And again, this is all rolling on the hourly chart. Actually, I said again, but I haven't really mentioned it, but yeah, I recommend this on the hourly chart. You can use it on the minute. You can use it on the tick chart. You can use it on the second chart. I was on the second chart the other day, and this thing was actually crazy. It was crazy to say the least. But just moves they have to happen. A second chart is just a little bit too insane. But if you are wanting to be down there, if you're scalping, maybe the 0 DTE. I don't have a strategy for that specifically, 0 DTE. But I would consider that. I would probably consider second charts if you're doing that, something like that. So again, if you're interested, come over. There's gonna be a link below. Check it out. You'll come to a page just like this, and I'm going to show you exactly all this kind of stuff. This was gold. This was a GLD, and this was actually 6 trades in a row. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 breakout trades. Actually, I think right now, there was a breakout, but then there was a nice little bounce. So you'll see that sometimes. And again, 100%, I want to be 100% transparent. It met our rules for a breakout. This was a really good look at the opportunity. A really, really juicy breakout opportunity. It just wasn't quite ready. There's still a lot of uncertainty in the markets. And so we flipped and said, all right, well, let's try a bounce here. And so if you see this is a criteria where if you would have entered this trade, you would simply just exit and go to the next signal. So it would have been this one right here. And if this one hits our stop loss, you get out of that and you wait for the next one. So as simple as that. I made it this way just because sometimes at these levels, sometimes it'll just do this. And this was a great looking opportunity. Look at this breakout buy, by the way. Really nice. Really nice little breakout buy right there. But sometimes it'll just do this. And so this is actually a decent looking trade for a bounce. And so we'll see about that. But again, there's plenty of opportunities on the charts right now. I showed you one right here. I think Intel is looking mighty fine here. It has jumped up. Let's actually look at that real quick, then we'll get out of here. So this was actually a 7% move. So yeah, so we might want to wait a little bit. We might wait a little bit, make sure that it stays above this zone right here. But honestly, if it stays above this support zone, because this was resistance, and let's actually check that out. So you see that right here. All right. So if we're on a chart, if you're looking at this chart right here, you might have no idea where this zone is. You actually have no idea. So you actually have to come over here and actually see it right there. So that was all the way back at June 10th. So if you're not someone who's constantly zooming out, and again, I recommend you always are looking back. You're always looking to see where zones are, where levels are, because they're very important, and price just absolutely respects them. But anyways, if you were like this, you didn't see it, it doesn't matter, because you got mag zone and you would have saw that alert, or you would have saw the zone. And then right there, so there was a nice trade, there was a nice breakout, and then now we're just sitting here. But a really, really good opportunity. Again, there are alerts, and so if you're someone who's like, well, I'm not going to be in my charts all the time, I'm not going to be in front of TradingView, don't worry, we got alerts. We have all it set up for you, or you'll be doing manual alerts, but we'll show you exactly how to do those as well. All right, so that's it for me. Again, there'll be that link in the description. Go ahead, check it out. And if you have any comments, questions, any concerns, anything like that, you can always leave us a comment or email us at support@findbettertrades.com. All right, I'll see you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video.